Cash rules everything around me, see? Get money, dollar bills, y'all. That's what it is, right? And we know that came from Wu-Tang Clan, and we all know that Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to, nothing to mess with. That's what I would say. We're gonna keep it PG. Oh man, Wu-Tang Clan. This group, fantastic rap group, collaborative rap group, and their number one hit to this day is a song called C.R.E.A.M, which stands for Cash Rules Everything Around Me.
For freedom, for freedom, for freedom, for freedom.
Cash rules everything around me. Cash rules everything around me. The lyrics. You remember the lyrics to that? Y'all, come on now. We're gonna make it like I'm the only one listening. Here's the lyrics. We're gonna skip through, try not to say the N-word, but I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hands. Mom's bounced on her old man. So then we moved to Shaolin land. Young youth, you're rocking the gold tooth and the goose. Only way I began to G off was drug loot. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gats for fun. So what is that talking about? Right? It was talking about the infiltration of drugs into our inner cities. This is New York specifically here. It was the same for particularly all of us who grew up in those 80s. It's interesting, I think that, don't you think it's interesting that he starts with the rapper, I believe this is Method Man here that wrote it. It starts with, I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. He talks about his environment. Talks about his environment dictating his behavior. And then they come to the realization that cash must rule everything around them. And what I want to present today is that we can't win that game. There's so much happening in the press right now. You got Kanye, you got Kyrie. All of this is showing us that if cash is what we're after, then as soon as you don't play by the game, the rules of the game, if cash is what you're after, then cash can be taken away. How can we be in it, but not of it? How can we be in this system where we have to have cash to survive within this system, the United States I'm talking about? We don't have a barter system set up. And particularly black folks, we still have less than 2% of the wealth of this nation. So how can we deal? This is dedicated to, first of all, my sons, my Jared, and then by extension to Zion. There was two profound conversations that we had, and both conversations were around doing it on our terms. Let's go back to the reasons why it's just, if we play just the cash game, I think Kanye and Kyrie are learning that if we just play that game, we're not going to win because folks can take the cash. Look at what happened with Wu-Tang. I'm just going to go on. You got Wu-Tang, producer RZA ends up selling the whole catalog to this Hypno Jesus songs, Hypnosis, at any rate, is not with Wu-Tang Clan anymore. Who owns the catalog is now with Hypnosis Songs. Hypnosis Songs, this deal was brokered by his lawyer, Tim Mandelbaum, who works for Fox and Rothschild, and then all of that catalog, that Wu-Tang catalog, is now owned by this Hypnosis, and here are some folks that are part of that group. That's Cash ruling everything around them. I want to submit to you that that's not a game we should be playing. The game of Cash ruling everything is not a game we should be playing, and it's not our game. This is more in line with our game. I'm going to come from the Bible here. If that's not your jam, if you're not down with the Bible, if you prefer whatever your belief system is, I'm sure you can find a chapter. In fact, you know what would be great is if we can have a discussion. If you are of the Islamic faith, or if you're of no faith at all, I would love for you to come up with a text or something contextual around this. Because this saying, you don't have to be a believer in Christ to come up with this, right? Or to embody this. I think this is more in line with how we should be. And so instead of Cash ruling everything around us, I believe that divinity, a return to that which is sacred, that which is spiritual, that which is godlike, divinity must rule everything around. How do we get there? This is King David speaking here. King David says, I've been young and now I'm old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Whose seed? The righteous' seed. So those who are righteous, I've not seen them forsaken. And I've not seen their sons and daughters begging for bread. So then what does it mean to be righteous? So righteous, the etymology of righteous is cool when the etymology is English, because then you just have English words that are for those of us who are English speaking, it's just easier to kind of get our hands on. Maybe. Anyway, Old English, writ vis, writ wise, it means bounteous. Righteous has a tie to this concept of being bounteous. But wait, Los, RZA and the Wu-Tang, they were talking about being bounteous. They were talking about cash. This is not being bountiful in money. This is being bountiful in your love and morality as it connects with God, with the Creator. You see this? So we get to the dictionary meaning, goes all the way back, 16th century. There's that right wise again, Old English, we already knew that part. Characterized by justice, morally right, of person just upright, sinless, conforming to divine law. Conforming to divine law. Oh, man. Los, what are you doing? Come on now. Clearly, Los, you must not know the golden rule. Of course I know the golden rule. Don't forget, I went to those schools too. I was trained in the mores of capitalism. Golden rule states that he who owns the gold makes the rules. And I'm saying no. I'm saying he who creates this mindset, who has the intellectual property to create something that can create the gold, that can extract gold, that can cause resources in the form of gold, money to come to them. They get to set the rules. So back to Wu-Tang Clan. I know this is true because listen, look at Wu-Tang. They had it. So they're talking about the drug game at first, but then you go through all the lyrics and then you get to the end of it. And there's a return to morality. Though I don't know why I chose to smoke cess weed. I guess that's the time when I'm not depressed, but I'm still depressed. And I ask, what's it worth? Still depressed. What? You got all this money, but you're still depressed. So he's saying, what is it worth? Ready to give up. So I seek the old earth. The old earth. Now he comes back to himself. Who explained working hard may help you maintain. Yeah. Now he's coming back to himself. Getting back to his spiritual center. Getting back to grounding himself. To learn to overcome the heartaches and pain. We got stick-up kids, corrupt cops, crap rocks, and stray shots. All on the block. The block that stays hot. There's so much criminality around me. I got to get back to that which is spiritual. I got to get back to the salt of the earth principles that's inside me. Leave it up to me while I be living proof to kick the truth to the young black youth. But shorty's running wild, smoking cess and drinking beer, ain't trying to hear what I'm kicking. Oh, the duality of it. And this is not me judging. I do not hear, this is not judgmental because this is, you hear this, the duplicity. You started off, it would appear that they're hyping up the drug game. And then you get to the end and it's like, what is it all for? I've done this drug stuff. I got all this money and I'm still depressed. I need to get back to earth. I need to come back to myself. And when I come back to myself, I want to help the brothers and sisters. Don't know if he meant it. He's all in the Bible right there, y'all. He's all in the Bible right there. And he's all in it because whenever we get to anything that has to do with creation, anything that gets to the spiritual nature, which we have, then we're closer and closer and closer to where we need to be. So no, not cash rules everything around me. Divinity rules everything around me. God rules everything around me. Things that are spiritual rules everything around me. There's more thought on this. I want to big up to the sister, she calls herself the Crimson Cure. The Crimson Cure. We're going to go to her channel for a minute here. I believe I think her government name, as she says, is Kendra. Let me tee this up.
Okay. So I got a couple of ones here that not quite sure what I mean when I'm talking about the 10 life values. So let me just show it to you. Hey, Miss Happy Latina. All right, so what you see on your screen right now is the 10 life values. It is ranked from 1 through 10. And they are ranked in order. And basically, the 10 life values is it is a system, a value system that was actually created by Father's Time. And sometimes you'll see Father's Time in here. So this is his system. And it basically is a way to sort of dissect your life or to compartmentalize it in a manageable way so that we can actually live a happy and fulfilled life by addressing these 10 issues, these 10 main areas in our life. So the first main area is the spiritual value. That is the core of us. That's our belief system. That is where we get our moral compass from. That is where we get our spiritual values and our principles and our moral code and all of these sorts of things. That's where we get this stuff from. That comes from our spiritual value. And then the next one is the health value. So the health value, it comprises the physical, the mental, and the emotional health of a person. So, this comprises all three areas of health. The one last thing that I want to point out here is that there is a circle, because each one of these values, when you go in order, spiritual to wealth, these values are all connected. They are connected. So when you look at the circle, number 1 is right next to number 10. And spiritual is connected to wealth. Your spirit is connected to your wealth.
Let's go to the other part. Let's see here. I want you to get this, man. She is teaching.
So now that we got some type of understanding about what the 10 life values actually is, we're going to talk about the lost value system. Now, when we take a look at this chart, and I forgot to do the chart dance. I'm sorry, because we sure got a new chart. When we take a look at this chart, you'll see a couple of things. The first thing is the actual lost value system. First thing you might notice is that it is an inverted triangle with the big part at the top and a little point at the bottom. And you'll also see that it is inverted. It starts with wealth and ends with the spiritual value. Okay? Another thing that you will understand before we actually start getting into this is that it's sitting on top of red, black, and green. The red part is indicative of the biological part. So that's the individual and the morals. Then the black part is the culture. That's society and ethics. The green part is environment. That's institutions and laws. Now we're going to keep coming back to this chart, so don't get up in arms about it, because we're gonna keep coming back to this. Now, wealth is at the top. It's a triangle rather than a circle, because in the lost value system, these values are not of equal importance. Wealth is at the top and spirit is at the bottom. But not only is that so, wealth is bigger than spiritual. It's the biggest one on the chart. Wealth is at the top. Wealth is at the top. Then leisure. Then profession. Then education. Then mobility. Those are the external. So in this lost value system, we've got the external 5 being more important than the internal, which is dwelling, appearance, family, health, and spiritual. Spiritual is way at the bottom. at the bottom. Now, there's words inside of it, but we're not going to get into that right now. I want to draw your attention to the yellow words on the side of this triangle. Starting from the top, across from wealth, we have there's no detachment. Across from leisure, we've got no limit. Across from profession, we've got no loyalty. Across from education, we've got no discipline. Across from mobility, we've got no fair structure. Across from dwelling, we've got no peace. Across from appearance, we've got no standards. Across from family, we've got no loving support. Across from health, we've got no care. And across from spiritual, we've got no truth. At the very bottom, it has each value is individually upside down, and we only value 6 through 10 if we can monetize it. So spiritual, health, family, appearance, and dwelling are only important if they are monetized. Okay.
Did you hear my sister? Wealth proportionally, extraordinarily outweighs that which is spiritual. Look at the chart. There's a proportionality with this chart, whereas before the 10 life value system was all about the 10 life value system, excuse me for flipping back and forth. The 10 life value system was all about, it was circular, right? So there's a whole different dispensation in the value system that we should be returning to, because it's the system that we had. We get back to our roots, we get back to that system. When we do this money is everything system, this cash rules everything around me system, then the accumulation of money is everything. And then that which is spiritual is infinitesimally small as it relates to cash. So what am I saying? Am I saying that we need to just quit today, go get on a commune and no, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that we have to be in it, but not of it. Excuse me. Have a little sip. In it, not of it. We're in this system, but this ain't our system. We have to understand. So we must extract the money from it, but we must feed our minds and feed our children's mind. Why? Because that is truly the golden rule. He who owns the mind, he who owns the mind, and the mind, interesting that mind and mind are kind of similar. So it's akin to owning the gold mine. If I own the gold mine, then I get to set the price of gold. If I own enough of the gold mines. Said differently, if I own the intellectual property for the music, then I get to set the price. And if you don't want to buy, I just don't sell. This is why Prince kept asking, before he died, he would always ask, you just look at, he kept asking creators, creatives, entertainers all the time, do you own your masters? Do you own your masters? Why? Because with the ownership of the masters, then you get to set your own price. And that's what I'm talking about. We have to have a return to that which is divine. And that which is creative is divine. That's why we call him the creator. See what I mean? So every time that we're creating something that is beautiful, that which is righteous, we are tapping into, we're getting back to ourselves. So whatever you're doing, and you don't have to just be a rapper or an entertainer, right? I'm an engineer. I crafted something last week that was so beautiful. I crafted a tool that enables me to be better at my bids. There was beauty in that. I have a son that's an artist. He can create things with paint that I could never do, right? The important thing in both of those cases is for us to own our own intellectual property. By way of summary, let's not fall into the trap of cash ruling everything around us. Let's embrace and return back to our spirituality. God, the divinity, something divine, the creator ruling everything around us in creative things. We must get and keep wisdom. This is knowledge with understanding. And then we must keep and mine for things that are of intellectual property. These are the things, this is the shift that we must make and must return to. Not cash ruling everything around us, but God ruling everything around us. All right? Cool. You cool? You good? I'm good. I hope you are too. And if you're not, let us know. We have happy thoughts going out to you all the time. We'll talk to you real soon. Thank you so much.
Freedom, for freedom, for freedom, for freedom.